of these in a few days. Sorry, I've been kind of busy. Made it to Bridgeport. Stayed in the hotel there. I got some pictures of the truck being in the parking lot. And spent the whole day at the yard getting the trailer as ready to go as I can, which wore me out. Here I am on the road again, heading back home. It's 7 o'clock local time. Got a moon, sunrise behind me. So far the truck's doing pretty good, holding speed with the trailer back there, so hear the turbo slowing down as it hits the governor. My rear view mirror though is kind of, cameras are kind of blocked out because all you see is the spare tire. Anyway, it's looking good. So far so good. I better end this before traffic catches up to me again. I'll check in again. Hello again. That was a beautiful intro, wasn't it? Coming out of Texas, I had a really good morning, but as you can see here, this is the route that I took all the way down to Texas and took it the same way back. And it was quite the long journey to go get this trailer, so I'll share some of the more boring parts with you here just coming up right now. Well, barely see him off there in the distance, but there's the mountains. I'm in Colorado now. Going on the way east side to avoid traffic. I had to keep on some slower roads because, you know, hey, I only go 65 anyway. Boring stuff. Aren't you glad you're not here with me? Well, here we are, eastern Colorado. Can't see the mountains anymore, I don't think. Heading south on 287. We'll be on this road for the rest of ever, seems like. Anyway, getting about expected mileage. Next stop is a ways down the road. Things are working pretty good so far. So just thought I'd film a little check-in. We're off. My stop for the day was going to be at Lamar, Colorado, and you know, it was a little early, but there was really nothing else to stop in between Lamar and Texas, so that was where we stopped, or where I stopped. Anyway, as I drove through, I came across this lot filled with deuce and a halfs and 5 tons and tractors and cargo trucks and everything in between. And you know, if you're looking for parts or you're looking for a truck, this looks like the place to hit. Look at all of those vehicles. This is the Google satellite view, obviously, but I mean, every single one of those things with the red arrows next to it, those are all military trucks, and they're pretty much still sitting like that when I went by there in January. So get them while they're hot, I guess. I don't know what else to say. On my way out of town, though, I did spot an interesting another field that was full of old Dodge Power Wagon M37s or whatever they were. Anyway, just something interesting to see along the road. This is what it looked like when I got to Texas. It's quite the change from being here in Wyoming, where it's brown or snowy, but mostly brown this year. It's kind of nice to see some green grass. Got there, you know, I took 2 days to get down there. I got there plenty early, in the afternoon, and it was enjoyable to relax. It was kind of hard to get used to Texas being all in the central time zone because it was not that early in the morning, and it was black dark when I first entered into Texas, and that was kind of hard to get used to. This next picture here is the picture of the lot where our trailer was at. This is the Gov Planet lot, and Hasty Equipment is the company that owns the land around it. Gov Planet, if you don't know, tends to rent spaces in various places, and you can always tell it's their spot because there'll be all these government property signs on the chain link fence around it. But yeah, they are all over and in their weird places, and some of them, like this one, are a long ways away from any known military base. But lo and behold, look at all that equipment in this picture, and there was a lot there, and if you've been watching the auctions anytime recently, there's been a lot of auctions in that area still. I was kind of amazed to see that there was a satellite picture that showed our trailer. See it there with the red arrow next to it. But that's the one I went to get. When I arrived in Texas at the yard there for Gov Planet, and was directed to the side yard where they had the trailers at. As you probably don't know, but when the military ships these anywhere, they take the ramps off, put them on the deck, and then stack 2 or 3 of them on one trailer and then haul them that way. The ramps are relatively easy if you have 3 or 4 large Marines to help you carry them and put them in place. But if you're doing it by yourself, I'm just glad I didn't film it, because it would have been funny to watch. If the guy at the lot hadn't come along and helped me a couple of times, I'd have never got this one ramp on there. It was a nightmare. The thing weighs me by several factors, and I ain't no slouch. So thank God the crane was there and it worked. Thank God, too, the tail light that's on the ramp, which is why I had to get them on, worked on this side too. Looked pretty good. Only problem I have is I didn't have a blinker on the driver's side, so I ended up running a wire from the taillight to the taillight. Later found out it was actually in the wiring connector on the trailer itself. There's the wire. One of the pins just needed to be pulled forward and locked in place, so no big deal. I'm pretty sure that I put more miles on this trailer than the military ever did, just getting it home. At any rate, the light situation worked great on the driver's side, and then I went to start working on the passenger side, and I'd already spent probably 6-7 hours sitting there in the lot trying to get that other ramp on when I ran into this problem. This is the retaining bolt. You can see that both ends have basically bolts heads on them because it was so fused in there it just mushroomed. When I got it home, I cut that off and drilled and broke 2 drill bits and stuck a couple of cheap punches, broke one of them, and then one of them fused into it, and I finally managed to get it out. But anyway, I had to switch over and go to plan B, which were these little cheapy tail lights that I brought with me, LED lights, and I just zip tied it on there and wired it into the wiring harness so that I'd have 2 lights. And it worked well. Somewhere along the lines, the vibration apparently got to this rinky-dink cheap plastic light, and the tail light part kept working, but the marker lights went out on it. But anyway, and that's what I ended up dragging home. That's a view from the back of the truck. You can see my tool roll there that came with my basic issue kit. That was a very handy thing to have, and you'll see park stops there and air hose, and it all came in handy. It was very good to have all those parts with me when I was down there. And it was a long day. And then these last pictures are from at the motel room. I was when I got home, got back to the motel. I call it home. Anyway, obviously spend too much time living in motels. That thought I'd get a picture before I headed out the next day. And you saw the video at the beginning. That was what the next morning was like. Beautiful sunrise, moonset. as I was heading out bright and early in the morning. And I'm a masochist. I made the whole drive home in one shot. I was so tired when I got home, and it took all day. I mean, it was dark when I left Texas, and it was really dark when I got home. That 14 hours that it shows on the map there at the beginning, that was really optimistic for this truck and trailer, and it was a long, long, long drive to do it straight through, and I don't recommend that to anyone. If you're going to be driving at 60, 65 all the way, it was a bear. Anyway, this next picture I had to take was the next morning when I was heading to work, and had to stop, just pause for a moment, look at the size of that trailer compared to my full-size Nissan pickup. I mean, wow. I mean, it's not a slouch either. Those are 33-inch tires on the Nissan, and the scale is just unbelievable. Anyway. And this is what I came home to. You can see there in the clock, this is the truck camera. It's not the best picture, but you can see that it was 2:50 in the AM. That's set with the GPS, so you can see that in the beginning video, the mirror was saying that it was 7:30, and I left probably right around 6:30 Mountain Time. And this is when I turned onto the road going out to my house from Douglas. 2:51 a.m. There were several naps involved, a couple of dinner stops, but it was a pretty long drive. And to go from green grass and working in my t-shirt outside to driving in a little bit of a dust-up snowstorm was no fun at all. Glad to see my headlights work so good, though. It's been a chore with this truck, getting some decent lighting on the front of it. It's definitely got use of them that night, and I'm pretty happy with how it's working out. At some point I'll do a video where I go over some of the things that we've modified on it and point out some of the things, and we've added a lot to it. We've got more that we're adding to it. It'll be worth your time to watch that one too when I get to it. Anyway, yeah, it was a long drive, and then to come back to snow and brown. Of course, it's January. What do you expect? It's Wyoming. I was glad there was some snow, because it's been really brown and dusty all winter long. So, at any rate, thought I'd explain what you're listening to or watching. Good morning. This is what the deck looks like on our trailer. Definitely tells me it's sitting someplace. Must have been salt water on it. Sure, plenty of surface rust. And these boards over the wheel wells here obviously are just bathing in water, so they came out in pieces, many pieces. These pieces that are in the open air are much more resistant, but you can see all the rot developing around where the screws were. I'm sure if I flip over that second board, it'll look much the same. Let's see if I can't get these outside boards replaced today. Kind of get a gauge on how bad this is going to go. And we have one supervisor. Oh, two supervisors. Anyway, here we go. It took 2 days and just about killed me and Lynn to get all of these boards off of that deck. Ended up leaving the 3 middle ones because they were solid from one end to the other, because they were in the air. They weren't over the fenders on the wheels. So some of the solid pieces in here I'm going to use to make a headboard for a bedroom in our guest bedroom. But anyway, it took a lot of work. Well, I don't think there's any amount of WD-40 in the world that's going to help these things. pretty sure what I'm going to end up doing is breaking them all off, like some that I already did by accident, and seeing if my new screws will drill into this metal. I could probably try one of them right off the bat, otherwise I'm gonna need a drill bit to get this straight. Needless to say, when stars rust out, or whatever they call those kinds of star-headed bolts, nut screws, they let go just as bad as any others. Looks like this is gonna work. That drill bit, which I only have one other, that could be bad, was able to drill a sufficient hole, and then I used this tool to drive it in there, and you can see by the shine on the threads, try to get centered in the frame, that I screwed this in quite a ways and then backed it out. So with the drill bit, I should be able to screw these boards down and start over again. So wish me luck. This is where it's going to get fun. I got to break all these other screws off and then get the boards in. It's going to take forever. Well, it did take quite a bit of time to get all those screws broke off. You know, this is a 3-weekend project, basically. I cheated. I used treated lumber, and it's not the same as the red oak that I pulled off the boards that were there, but for the purposes of what I'm going to need right now, it's going to be good enough. And later on, hopefully I can save up enough to buy some rumbar, or whatever they call that, the rubber lumber stuff. That would be a good fix for this thing. Well, it's been a while since I got back with the trailer. It's now April, and you know, that was January, end of January, when I went down to pick it up. Had a little bit of winter, as you can see here. The old Jeep frozen to the bed ground here, and you know, it's been a really busy winter. For some reason, things have just been hectic as hell. I haven't gotten anything done. Project this, project that, work, and it's just, I wish there was a little more time, and definitely wish there was more money for fuel, because I haven't really made any videos for like 3 months, and I haven't done anything, and I guess it has been 3 months. My goodness. Anyway, driving me nuts. And this right now is what it's like here today. Nice little blizzard coming through, but it's barely freezing outside, so it's already melting off, and the roads are clearing up. And yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be cloudy and windy, but no more snow, so we'll see what happens. And here I've got some pictures of the boards that I selected out to make a rinky-dink headboard. I sanded them down a little bit to kind of expose the character in the wood, and then I started treating it with just a clear epoxy, and I think they're going to come out nice. It's going to take a while, and of course I haven't gotten back to it since the day I started the project, and that's been 2 months now anyway. The other day we did have some nice warm weather, and had an opportunity. I wanted to sand all the paint runs, and there was some rub marks on the doors from when the armor package had been on the truck, and so I took the disc sander to the door to clean it up so I could put a coat of paint on it, and I wanted to put our little logo sticker on the door at some point, and lo and behold, look at this image that was under the paint. Apparently somebody was jealous of the Force Recon Marines or something like that. From what we've been able to determine, this truck was part of the 29 Palms military base, artillery division, something along those lines. Military wouldn't tell me what it did, but heard that from some people on Steel Soldiers that were familiar with the number that's across there. Can only make out one word in that logo, and on the bottom there is death, and I don't think it's the swift silent death that the Force Recon have. But crossed cannons and a smiling skull with a little heart-shaped nose thing, that's actually kind of cute. But yeah, it's on both doors, so it'll be interesting. I think the other side's got a little more to it, so when I sand it, maybe I'll get a little more relief on it, and maybe I can put it back on again. I don't know. Kind of interesting to see. But we've got some things that we're doing with our channel. We're going to try to get some content going somehow. Fuel prices obviously are making it hard to take very many road trips with the big truck. We're hoping to take it to Colorado this summer. We'll see if we can get that to happen or not. That there's a full-size Jeep get together in Ouray, Colorado, and that would be interesting to take old Sarge to. And now that we got the trailer, we won't have to drive it at 50 miles an hour all the way down there. And that might be kind of fun. They're trying for a Guinness World Book of Records, something to do with most number of full-size Jeeps in one place at one time. I don't know. We'll see if that happens. And I was hoping to take my Jeep and my truck and go back and visit some family members, and it'll be a 5-hour drive to get there. And my stepfather served in the military about the time that the Jeep was in use, although he was in the National Guard, so he wouldn't have seen this since it was active duty. Back then, active duty didn't get the new stuff. They got the hand-me-downs. So, but he's never seen it all restored up, and I think it'd be kind of a fun trip, and get to go back and see some family for a little while. But we'll probably do some clips of that. Part of the drive was to drive through Fort Robinson, Nebraska, which is a pretty neat military fort from the 1800s, obviously. But it's very restored. It was active until the 50s, I think. But all the buildings are very nice and very pristine. And there's a beautiful area right around there just before you get to Chadron and Nebraska. And it's a nice trip. So we'll see if that happens and goes from there. I'd like to point out to anybody that's interested out there that we do have a little store, and we're selling some t-shirts. We even got some pro-Ukraine t-shirts on there, and some other military themed t-shirts, and we also got pictures. We've been in the business of photography since the 80s, and all the pictures that are in our current shop are recent pictures. We've got a lot of catalog of old stuff, but it's all on film, and I haven't had a lot of time to get that stuff digitized and cleaned up and brought in, and maybe I'll get that done one of these days. I don't know. Trying to find some ways to create some additional revenue streams so that we can buy fuel and take time off from paying jobs to do more fun things, and also to fund building our RV. We're gonna build on the back of Shrek. 4-season capable, fully self-contained home on wheels at some point for getting around the world. We want to go see what we can see while we still can, and we're hoping that this channel will help us get from where we are to where we want to be. And whatever we can do, we're trying to figure it out. We hope you'll want to stay on the journey with us, and hope you'll like and subscribe and help us figure it out. Hopefully we'll have more videos too. I mean, if I can't drive it, I can at least work on it and record some of that stuff, and maybe we'll get some interesting videos. I want to build a brush cage for the cab, because when you're driving through the forest, a lot of the tree limbs that everybody else doesn't hit are windshield height for us, and that just yeah, I don't want to buy a new windshield really that badly. So anyway, that's it for now. Have a good one.